And what other information are you given, just generally speaking? Open structure, there's 2 cars in the driveway. Anything else?
Can I read it?
You can certainly read it to refresh your memory.
It says that the neighbors are usually home.
Okay. And were you given information about who called the Fort Worth Police Department? Do you know if you would have been given that information inside of your car or over the radio?
We would have gotten it both places.
Both. And are you given the information about, so would it have the name of the person that called, and then does it also have a phone number?
It does.
Okay. And just looking at State's Exhibit 95, are you able to tell who the caller name was and the phone number? You don't have to say it and you don't have to read it out. I just want to know if that's on the call.
It is on here. On our MDCs, there's different tabs where if you don't have that tab clicked, you're not going to see who the caller is.
But you have the ability inside your car to do so.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Okay, so you get out there, you look inside, you go to the side door. Now where do you go?
The side door, we started making our way, which would be northbound down the side of the house.
Do you hear anything like that?
Not that I remember.
After you get to the side of the house, where do you go?
That's when we go into the backyard.
You said that you guys cleared, or I think you said y'all or you cleared both cars.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you guys talk about who's going to clear what or how you're going to do it?
Not that I remember. I don't remember a whole lot of communication from them.
Before you walk up to the house, do you guys discuss who's going to take lead or call the shots, if you will?
It was his beat, so it was his sheet.
Okay. Now you said that to me before. It was his beat, it's his sheet. What does that mean to us?
If you're responsible for that area, most officers take pride in their areas and they try to take the sheet on it, just so that people get to know their face, get to know their names, things like that.
So naturally, are you going to kind of take a back seat to what he's kind of telling you to do or directing you to do, or y'all going to do it together?
My primary mission at that point is to be an assist officer.
All right. And so who makes the decision, or do y'all discuss who's going to go into the backyard?
I don't think we did.
Who opens the gate?
I believe it was Officer Dean.
Now, I want to ask you, do you have some trouble with your memory?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you tell us why?
I've had 2 TIAs, 2 trans-ischemic attack strokes.
So as far as your memory is concerned, and just generally speaking, when have those occurred?
The first one occurred February of 2020, and then the second one the following March, so March of 2020.
So did you also give interviews to the major case department back in October of 2019, right after this happened?
The night of, yes, ma'am.
So if there's any questions that you're unable to remember, would that be the most accurate and the best from what happened that night?
Yes, ma'am.
And then, of course, we have the body camera footage.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right. And so you're not quite sure who opened the gate, but do y'all go in the backyard?
Yes, ma'am.
When you go in the backyard, do you remember who went in first?
I believe it was Officer Dean.
Do y'all talk about who's going to go left, right, straight, what you're going to do?
No, you're trained in the academy, and it's just muscle memory at that point.
What do you train in the academy to do when you enter a backyard?
You do what they call, I don't know the exact terminology for it, but it's basically you perform an X, whoever's on this side goes in this lane, whoever's on this side goes in this way.
Okay. Why?
Just so that you're facing what you see.
And is there a particular way that you are taught to clear a backyard or clear a space?
You do what you call a pie, and you just break it up into small sections, what you can see first, and then you go into the corner that's unknown.
And so did you guys personally do that when you went into the backyard?
Yes, ma'am.
Is it something that you can visibly see that another officer is doing, or are they able to do it just with their eyes only?
It depends on how big the area is that you're clearing.
Could you tell whether the defendant was slicing the pie or cutting it up in these pie sections?
I had my back to them.
Okay, so let's talk about that. You've got your back to him when you go in the backyard. About how far away were you guys from each other?
We were very close.
Okay. Were the backs of you, were y'all touching?
If we weren't, we were close. I know that.
Very close.
Yes, ma'am.
And which direction is he facing?
He would be facing southbound, which would be toward the house, and I was facing northbound toward the backyard.
And when y'all get in the backyard, so you're actually looking at, I guess, the fence, if you will.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And so after you get back there, you're back to back, he's looking at the house, you're looking away. What's the next thing that happens?
I'm clearing the backyard. As I get a quarter halfway into it, I hear him start giving out commands, so I drop my gun into the stool position, and I go to turn around, and about halfway through my turn is when I hear a shot ring out, and I turn around, and that's when I can see her.
So when did you pull out your Glock 17?
I'm not sure the exact time, but I believe it was when we were going into the backyard.
So you pull it out, you think you pulled it out, and are you using it to clear and slice the pie, if you will?
Yes, ma'am.
And so would it have been pointed
At the fence,
at the fence? You said you put it down in stool position?
which would just be pointing at my feet, so that I don't turn around and have the barrel of my gun in his bag.
Do you know whether or not the defendant had his gun out while y'all were approaching the front or side doors of the house?
I don't remember him having it out when we were approaching the front or the side.
Do you know whether he had it out? Do you know when he had it out? When he pulled it out?
No, ma'am.
Okay. When you guys were, after you were walking by the cars that we were talking about in the driveway, do you remember seeing any type of lawn equipment or electronics of any sort outside?
I know from the video, I don't remember firsthand if there was. I know from the video, though, that there was a lawnmower and a weed eater.
What about when you get to the car, the second car, do you remember there was a bicycle of some
I
sort?
tripped on a bike.
Okay. Do you say something about that in the video, or do you remember?
I don't remember, but I'm sure I did.
And then, do you remember whether that was a bigger bike, small bike, or do you remember?
I don't remember.
Okay. And so you were on the inside of that car, between the house and the car, there's a bike, and you kind of run into that. Where is the defendant?
He is on the east side of the car.
Other side.
Yes.
Okay. And at any point before y'all get into the backyard, have you called for backup?
No.
Okay. Would you know if backup had been called by the defendant?
You would hear it on your radio.
And that's on your person, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. When you guys go up to that front door, do you guys inspect the front doors and try to open up that storm door?
I didn't. I'm not sure if he did. If Officer Dean did.
Side door, did you?
I didn't. Again, I'm not sure if Officer Dean did.
What about announcing? Saying Fort Worth Police or knocking on the front or side door? Did you guys do that?
No, ma'am. We didn't, because if there's a burglar still in the building, you don't want them to know that you're there so that they can escape.
And so, did you also, when you talked earlier about parking kind of across the street and down, did you ever have your lights on when you were pulling up to that first strong house, if you will?